Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much again for joining me here. Hope you're having a phenomenal day. Happy Monday to you, and happy altcoin season index to everyone else too. This is a phenomenal sign. We're going to look at this and a handful of other factors that are super important, so be sure to stick around. We're going to start with some fundamentals first. Compliments of my admin, Mr. Anderson, and our community. Thank you again so much for being a fantastic admin and providing a lot of good relevant data. Just so you know, JP speaks tomorrow on Tuesday, so that's a pretty big deal. Every time he talks, the market goes up and down depending on how dovish or bullish he is. And if we look here too, we can also see PMIs on Thursday, and there's like 15% of companies reporting earnings this week, so it's a pretty big week. We also have home sales data on Wednesday too, so just be mindful of that. That's all available there for you. If you want to join over our Discord, you can kind of see that there too. Congrats to our community members who took some nice profits this weekend. We took a CASP along 65% in roughly a day and a half. If you're not familiar, I did post that playout chart here on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord, and just kind of give you a quick heads up that we had a pretty solid hold or close above that 9-cent range. Either way, conversation for another day. If you're in my community, you'll already know that. We're going to look at Bitcoin dominance too here as well. So let's go ahead and get started first with alt season index here. So what this is just kind of a reflection of how well altcoins are doing versus Bitcoin. As Bitcoin continues to drop in the overall performance, we can see with alt season, or more so altcoin market cap increasing, there's just a really big significant push to the upside for altcoins. So just keep in mind, majority of the altcoins that are outperforming Bitcoin right now are going to be ones you want to try to invest in. So maybe recommend considering investing in those coins. Let's jump on over to open interest and recognize we're up 17% here on futures with open interest. That in combination with our ETF net inflow, look at this here, we are at the highest point we've seen in the last 1 year. I think actually total we're probably already there too as well, just because once again ETFs are a little on the newer side here, and we can see here at this point that we are almost at 10 billion inflow for Bitcoin and Ethereum alone. So that's pretty awesome. So great stuff there. That's a good foundation, kind of letting us know where we're at. Let's jump on over to Bitcoin dominance, kind of starting off with some back-end data, and we'll go into some liquidation stuff here soon. So when it comes to Bitcoin dominance, this number keeps going down, and this is a good reflection of how strong altcoins are. Keep in mind, this is not like the cause of altcoins going up is because this is going down. This is just kind of a reflection of how the overall amount of investment in the market is factored. So if we take a look at the larger time frame, we can recognize is quite substantial. And the general consensus here, and this isn't exact science, but overall, as Bitcoin dominance goes down, you can expect with Bitcoin price going up, alt season will happen. And that's essentially what's happening right now. Bitcoin's at the 119 range or 118.5, trying to make its way to that 120, 130 range. And if so, we'll continue to see altcoins do very, very well. What we want to look out for is the shift here. If this starts to go sideways, then alt go sideways too, and that's usually when you want to consider maybe taking profit or potentially shorting depending on the market. Either way, this is just kind of a good reflection here, letting us know we're in really good shape. And we got a long ways to go, by the way, folks. This may seem like a big move, but we've seen as low as 40% in previous altcoin cycles. And if you can kind of see here too, we've seen some pretty significant downtrends. That was back in 2021 when things got kind of crazy during that summer months. Okay, so anyways, all good there. So that's a good sign there. What we want to look at here next, CME futures, just to quickly recognize there are no CME gaps here that were created over the weekend. Okay, so that's a good sign. Let's go ahead and clean this up a little bit so you can kind of see it a bit better. There is still a CME gap remaining between 114 and roughly 116. I'm just kind of ballpark it for you. It's 114.4 and 115.7. But the specific, that specific number there, it may or may not happen. I think the likelihood of it happening is higher, but we are seeing a nice bullish type of pennant pattern here for Bitcoin. And this bullish pennant pattern is more likely to break up than down because we retest these higher levels and we derived from the downside. When you originate from the downside, things continue in that same direction because the bears are slowly losing strength. That's kind of what's going on here. So that's kind of how that works. That's good stuff. Let's go ahead and jump into the back-end liquidation data here for Bitcoin and kind of just verify where we're at here and kind of see kind of where we're at. Because when it comes to liquidation, if I recall correctly, we had a large range above and below us. There are more specific areas that are a little further away. We got some pretty heavy shorts here at about 120, but for the most part, as per usual, that lower area of fair value gap, CME gap, liquidation, there's a lot of value between 116 and 114. But furthermore, the same thing is starting to occur here as well, 121 to 123. Okay, so looking good there in that sense. As far as the overall circumstance, we're kind of in the middle of these ranges. So there's no like definitive, we're going to break up or down immediately because of this. The likelihood of us breaking up or down is just based on a short squeeze and or just the potential of breaking our pattern here, right? So the patterns exist to kind of give us a reflection of what may happen next. And the likelihood of breaking up is slightly higher because we keep retesting that higher high, or the lower highs rather, and we're due to continue further up. But liquidation delta doesn't tell us too much here. It's really close to break even. This does tell us in a way that the momentum has shifted though. We were fairly bearish on Friday, and that has since tapered off to almost break even. Break even does typically imply a shift in momentum. So it's kind of where we're at there. And once again, since we originated from the downside, moving up, we're starting to see the price go higher or more likely to go up. All that being said, we have open interest here below the price at 117.3, 118.2, and 118.7. So those are three areas of support below the price. As that continues to accumulate, the more likelihood we are to break up. Keep in mind there is open interest at 120. That could be the local resistance or the local shelf and or local top. Let's move on to the daily time frame, work our way down, find the right chart, and go from there. So when it comes to the overall sense here on the daily time frame, we're still above all moving averages. That's fantastic and phenomenal. We saw early signs on Friday that we have a divergence forming, and that was mainly because the RSI was dropping below our moving average, which is still there. So that's going to happen, of course, because the moving average is fairly high, and it's just generally kind of par for the course. But what I'm getting at here is we don't have a tremendous amount of like identifications here saying we're going to go down anymore. I mean, even though we have that one outlier, everything else is pretty much pointing up. Okay, so that's a good sign. However, and this is not a big deal, but a lot of folks will put a big emphasis on divergences, and I do on lower time frames like the 4-hour time frame. The MACD makes more sense, but on the daily time frame at this point, this is letting us know that we're potentially going to be shifting momentum to the downside. I don't think it's going to happen based on all the back-end stuff we've looked at here so far. That's very much counterintuitive. So a lot of times that's why you want to look at, like some folks, they get like really hell-bent on patterns and or divergences, for example. So don't be the person that sees a divergence and everything else is pointing up and takes a short because you see this. That's not the reason to do it. If this complements a lot of other factors, then maybe it's a good consideration, right? But this is like an outlier here letting us know that, sure, okay, we may pull back. You might get lucky, but that's what it is. You don't want to take a trade on luck, because the overall sense here is that things are pointing up and pointing higher just based on pretty significant market continuation, inflows, ETFs. That's a pretty big indicator. And a lot of things kind of letting us know that. Furthermore, we're right here. We're kind of squeezing out here with our moving averages. So we got our 50 and our 20-day SMA hanging out there right in the middle. All the more reason why we're going to see some type of expansion here soon. When you compress, like Bollinger Bands and a lot of other indicators, everything starts to average out. You will see a sharp move in either direction. We have a slight convergence here in the MACD, which isn't phenomenal, but it's good because we are establishing lower highs and higher highs on the lower time frames. And we're over 50 on the RSI here, albeit still compressing, not really that great of an indicator. So really, from a technical standpoint on the charts, it doesn't tell us a heck of a lot that we're going to break out, minus the pattern. The back-end data, though, tells us a lot more in that we have sustainability, this price point, more likelihood, propensity to go higher. I'd be very careful considering any shorts. In fact, we have a short position open for Bitcoin at 120,000. I may just end up closing that in profit and just calling it a day, because we've had that trade open for like a week now. Bitcoin does not want to pull back. But as soon as I close, it probably will. So maybe I'll just do you all a favor and close the trade, and then the price will go down. Either way, we have a little running joke in our community about that. Other than that, really, honestly, this is a pretty good situation for Bitcoin. I don't recommend shorting at this point, but taking along right now, it can be challenging, right? Oftentimes you want to wait for a definitive direction to be established, and we don't have one yet. Other than that, I think you should definitely check out BitUnix, phenomenal exchange, link down below, check them out. Join us over at CryptoCash 2 as well, cryptocash.tech, of course. We got a summer promotion bonus here that's going to be expiring soon. Be sure to check that out. We got a lot of new community members over at our community. Please read through the trade alerts so you know specifically how things work out, right? This is that CASPA trade alert letting you know specifically, what's going to happen with this trade, right? Furthermore, just make sure you read through our signals guide so you know how the signals are going to be structured. There's a lot of important information there. Don't just jump into our community and start taking every trade you see, okay? All right, I hope you have a good rest of your day. Thanks so much again for being an amazing part of my life. Like, subscribe, follow. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks again. Take care. Bye-bye.